Gonski, please.
Can you say the last name again, please?
Gonski, Gonski.
Chief?
Yes, sir. If you're going to raise your right hand and face the clerk on the right, thank you.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Just going to keep your voice up for me, okay?
Sure.
Great, thank you. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. Could you please state your name and spell your first and last name?
Deborah Gonski, Deborahgonski.
And how are you employed?
With the Dedham Police Department,
How long have you been with the Dedham Police Department?
approximately 13 and a half years.
And what's your current rank?
Detective,
How long have you been a detective?
10 years.
And in connection with being a detective, what are your responsibilities?
Any incidents that require further investigation?
Directing your attention to May 15th of 2020, did you have the opportunity to respond to the Residence Inn in Dedham?
Yes, I did.
And when you first arrived at the Residence Inn, where did you go?
Initially, I was in the parking lot.
Okay. And who did you speak with, if anyone, in the parking lot?
I spoke to Officer Ellis and Mr. Steven Rocha.
And about how long did you spend in the parking lot?
Just a few minutes.
Okay. Do you know about what time it was?
10:42 a.m.
And when you met with Mr. Rocha, did he show you anything?
He did. He showed me a text message.
Okay. May I approach?
You may.
I'm showing you what's been marked as exhibit number 1. You just look at that first message on there.
Yes,
Do you recognize that text message?
I do.
What is that?
That's the text message that Mr. Rocha displayed to me on his cell phone.
All right, you can just close that, thanks. And when you were in the parking lot, was Dr. Tuerk there?
He was already in the ambulance at that time.
Okay. And so what, if anything, did you do next?
I went up to room 228 with Officer Ellis and Officer Katie.
And when you went to room 228, generally, what did you see?
So I reviewed the room as it was. I photographed the room to document as it was, how we found it. I did note there was a small kitchen table in the kitchenette that had several items on top of it.
Okay. And you said that you took photographs yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay. If I could move through those at this time, Your Honor?
Yes.
Can I just shut off the lights?
Yes.
I'll get it.
These are already marked.
These are already marked into evidence. If we could start with Exhibit 5, please, Ms. Gilman. Do you recognize what's in Exhibit 5?
Yes, this is the hotel room from the exterior.
All right. And is that a photograph that you took?
Yes, it is.
All right. And could I have Exhibit 6, please? And do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And what is this?
This is the kitchen table.
Okay. And there's a syringe on that table. Did you learn that people treating from Fallon Ambulance treating Dr. Tuerk had used syringes?
They did not.
Did they administer Narcan?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And exhibit number 7, please. What's contained in that photograph?
So there is, this is low-dose aspirin that had been dumped out by the paramedics just to confirm that's what was in the bottle was what was supposed to be. And then there's a kitchen knife with a small amount of dried blood on the tip.
Okay, and could we have exhibit number 8, please? And what is that?
Apple iPhone belonging to Mr. Tuerk.
Okay. And did you do anything in connection with the phone that's shown in exhibit number 8?
I seized the phone.
Okay. And can we have exhibit number 9, please? What can be seen in exhibit number 9?
This is the desk area in the room, and there's just some miscellaneous items on there.
Okay. Exhibit number 10, please. What's in exhibit number 10?
This is the bed.
And is this how the bed appeared when you were in room 228 on the 15th?
Yes.
Okay. Could we have exhibit number 12? And what's contained in exhibit number 12?
This is the nightstand to the right of the bed. There's some water, some miscellaneous items, and a half-empty bottle of, I believe it was Scotch.
Okay. And can we have exhibit number 13, please? And what's contained in exhibit 13?
So this is a photo from the parking lot. This is Mr. Tuerk's vehicle.
Okay. And did you observe this vehicle parked in this manner on May 15th?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Could we have exhibit 14, please? And what photograph is this?
This is the same vehicle from the rear depicting the license plate.
Could we have exhibit 15, please? And what is this?
The same vehicle from the driver's side.
Could we have exhibit 16? And what is contained in exhibit 16?
This is Miss McLean's Jeep Wrangler.
And is this parked in the manner in which you observed it on the 15th?
Yes, it is.
Right, could we have exhibit 17, please? What's contained in exhibit 17?
This is Miss McLean's Jeep Wrangler from the rear depicting the license plate.
Okay. Could we have exhibit 18, please? What is contained in exhibit 18?
This is Miss McLean's Jeep Wrangler from the driver's side.
And could we have exhibit 19, please? And what's contained in exhibit 19?
This is Miss McLean's Jeep Wrangler from the front.
Okay, could we have exhibit 20, please? What's contained in exhibit 20?
This is the passenger side of Miss McLean's Jeep Wrangler.
And what can be seen in that?
There's a kitchen steak knife with a black handle and an empty bottle of Scotch.
So at the point that you took this photograph, where were you positioned, or how were you positioned?
I was standing outside of the passenger side of the vehicle. Both the windows had been left down and the items were in plain view.
And did you ever open the doors when you first responded to the residents in the morning of the 15th?
No.
Okay. Could have the lights back on, please? When you were at the Residence Inn, what, if anything, did you do with regard to surveillance at the hotel?
I went down to the front desk and I spoke to the front desk supervisor, George Cummins. He was able to pull up surveillance video from May 8th at the time that Mr. Tuerk had checked into the hotel initially. He utilized that image to see what Mr. Tuerk looks like, and I had asked him if he could begin reviewing surveillance video from May 15th and from the day prior, May 14th, to attempt to gather Mr. Tuerk's whereabouts.
Okay. And was it your understanding that more video was going to be provided to investigators?
Yes.
Okay. Based on the information that you obtained and what you saw in the room, what, if anything, did you do?
I asked Officer Ellis if he can contact our dispatch and have our dispatch center ping Miss McLean's cell phone.
And what was the purpose of that?
The purpose is to locate the phone and thus hopefully locate Miss McLean.
Okay. And under what circumstances would you request a ping?
For an exigent circumstance, so an emergency circumstance.
Okay, and what, if anything else, did you do?
I responded back to the station, and at that time, I requested that our dispatch locate a K-9 unit to respond up to the residence inn to meet Officer Ellis to search the area around the hotel.
Okay, and what, if anything else, did you do?
I took a phone call from Miss McLean's sister, Beth Mellinson.
And what, if anything else, did you do?
I responded to the Norwood Hospital at approximately 2:15 p.m. with Detective Mahoney. We met at the time Sergeant Fanning, now Lieutenant Fanning.
And what, where was Lieutenant Fanning or Sergeant Fanning, what law enforcement agency was he from?
With the Massachusetts State Police, the investigative unit out of the District Attorney's Office,
And why'd you go to Norwood Hospital?
to follow up with Mr. Tuerk's status.
Okay. Did you take any items with you to Norwood Hospital?
I took the cell phone with me.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you do with that?
The phone was ultimately turned over to Lieutenant Fanning.
Okay. And were you able to go into Norwood Hospital on the 15th?
Ultimately, we were.
Okay. And who, if anyone, did you speak with on the 15th?
We met with Ailish Wilkies, one of the directors from the hospital.
Okay. And did you meet with anybody else?
We met with a Matthew Lowry and a Tara Daub.
Okay. And anybody else?
Lieutenant Fanning, Detective Mahoney. We met in the family waiting room.
Okay. And were you able to meet with Mr. Tuerk or Dr. Tuerk on that day?
No.
Okay. And so after going to Norwood Hospital, where, if anywhere, did you go?
I responded to the area of 29 Valley Road, along with Detective Quigley, also from our department, to assist with a neighborhood canvass around Mr. Tuerk's residence.
And what's a canvas?
We checked the area for any possible surveillance video or doorbells with video capability, spoke to some of the residents to see if they had witnessed anything, heard anything,
And what was the purpose of that?
to see if there was any witnesses to anything that had occurred, possibly near or at the residence.
Okay. And about how long did you spend in Dover?
Couple hours.
Okay. Directing your attention to Saturday, May 16th. What, if anything, happened on that day?
I contacted Miss Wilkies at 8 a.m. for a status update on Mr. Tuerk.
Okay. And after speaking with Ms. Wilkie, what, if anything, did you do?
I responded to Norwood Hospital at approximately 10 a.m. along with Detective Porro, also of the Dedham Police Department, and Trooper Kukowski from the DA's office.
Okay. And were you able to go into Norwood Hospital on the 16th?
Ultimately, yes.
Okay. Do you know about what time you were able to go into the hospital?
I recall that the interview began at approximately 5:20 p.m.
Okay. And what do you mean by the interview?
So we interviewed Mr. Tuerk in one of the family waiting rooms that we were situated in by Miss Wilkies.
And when you say we, who was present?
Myself and Trooper Kukowski.
Okay.
You may.
I'll trade binders with you. And I'm showing you what's been marked as exhibit number 280. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
This is the Miranda rights that was read to Mr. Tuerk.
Okay. And is your signature on that form?
It is.
Okay. And is there a date and time?
There is.
And what's the date and time?
May 16th, 2020, and the time is 5:21 p.m.
Okay. And how were you and Trooper Kutkowski dressed?
I believe Trooper Kukowski was in a suit and I was in regular plain clothes.
Okay. And what about Detective Porro? Did he come with you into the hospital?
He did, yes.
Okay. And how was he dressed?
Plain clothes.
And is it fair to say that you were in the interview for the first portion of the interview?
Yes.
Okay. And during the time period that you were in the interview, were you ever concerned that the defendant didn't understand anything that you were saying or Trooper Kutkowski was saying?
No.
Did you observe, have the opportunity to observe Dr. Tuerk moving?
Yes.
In what way did you see him moving?
Initially, prior to the interview, he walked out from the wing his room was located in and walked into the family waiting room to meet with us.
Did he require any assistance?
No.
And during the interview, where was he seated?
He was positioned with his back to the door to the family waiting room.
Okay. And did he ever require any assistance in his chair?
No.
Was it just a regular chair?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point in the interview, was there a break?
There was, yes.
And what happened during that break?
Mr. Tuerk asked to take a break. It was approximately 45 minutes.
The break was 45 minutes?
Yes.
And what happened during that break?
He walked back to the area of his room.
Okay. And did you or any other police officer go with him?
No.
And how did the interview resume?
Mr. Tuerk returned back to the family waiting room.
Okay. And what happened at that point with you?
I remained in the hallway.
Okay. And could Dr. Tuerk see you during the time period that you were in the hallway?
No.
And could you hear what was going on in the room?
No, I could not.
Okay. And after the break, who was in the interview?
It was Trooper Kutkowski and Detective Porro.
Okay. After Saturday the 16th, what was your involvement with the investigation?
There was no further involvement from myself as the jurisdiction fell on Dover and the state police.
And what do you mean by jurisdiction?
That the crime had occurred, alleged crime had occurred in Dover.
Okay. Your Honor, could we approach?
Yes. The needle that you saw in the photograph just a moment ago, that was a needle, the parties stipulate, that was used to administer Narcan to the defendant and then left by the EMTs on that table that you saw. Okay? Thank you.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
So I understand you're a detective, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've been a detective for about, what, 8 years, 9 years?
10 years?
10 years. And that would be in the town of Dedham, or the city of Dedham, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that you do when you're a detective, obviously, is you detect things. You investigate, and you're looking for potential evidence and things of that nature, right?
Yes.
You want to keep an open mind at all times, right? Would you agree with me that you mentioned on a number of occasions, could I have Exhibit 17, please? Now, you referenced this motor vehicle, the Jeep, as being Miss McLean's Jeep, correct?
Yes.
Can I have 18, please? Now, looking at Exhibit 18, you would agree that what you refer to as Miss McLean's Jeep is the white Jeep, and it's parked within the white lines, but it's pretty much far over, if you will, towards the red, correct?
Yes.
And you know now, in the course of your investigation on this case, that in fact it was not Miss McLean's Jeep, that it was Harry Tuerk's Jeep, right?
I was advised that it was Miss McLean's Jeep that she drove.
Okay. In any event, did you know that in your investigation that Ms. McLean was living with, you can put the lights on, that was living with Harry Tuerk in his house in Dover?
Yes.
Did you know that they were boyfriend and girlfriend for a period until they get married?
I didn't know how long they dated for before they got married.
Did you know they were married for about 4 or 5 months tops and then they got divorced, or they wanted to get a divorce?
No.
So when you're investigating the case and you see the white Jeep Wrangler parked in the parking lot, did you look inside that vehicle?
From the window.
Okay, so you really didn't open the door and look inside it, but...
No.
Okay. You indicate that on the 15th, I believe, that you went to Norwood Hospital initially, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you could not meet with the defendant, is what you said, right?
That's correct.
Now, why could you not meet with the defendant?
Because he had still not woken up yet. He was still unresponsive as far as we were advised.
All right. And you know that when he was admitted to the hospital, that in fact, he was more than unresponsive, he was almost in a coma.
I don't know what state medically he was in, how severe or not.
All right. So as a police officer now, you know, even though you're in plain clothes, you still have the gun and the badge and all of that, right?
Yes,
And you're with the state police and you're going to the hospital to try to get a statement from him, right?
yes,
And one of the for example, one of the things you guys do is you tell people you have a right to remain silent, right?
yes,
You have a right to an attorney.
yes,
Can't afford one, we'll give you one.
yes,
Can't, and if you want to stop talking, you stop anytime, right?
right,
Those are Miranda warnings.
right,
And the reason you do that is so the person, the citizen who's being questioned by the police officer is able to make, hopefully, a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver, right, of their rights,
correct,
right?
yes,
Okay. One of the other issues is that of what's called voluntariness. In other words, is the person making a voluntary statement, not so much a legal statement with the Miranda, but a voluntary statement, right?
yes,
Yes?
yes,
And one of the concerns that you have is, for example, whether or not somebody's impaired as a result of ingestion of drugs or ingestion of alcohol or mental illness or anything like that, right?
yes,
So you as a police officer, a detective with your almost decade at the time of experience, a concern that when you're interrogating or questioning a person, as you were, that the person is able to make a voluntary statement to you, right?
correct,
And in fact, you knew that Harry Tuerk was in the hospital, and when he was unresponsive, it was in fact because his blood alcohol level on admission was such that the Norwood Hospital doctors were concerned that it was attempted suicide by alcohol.
This is the first time I'm hearing of that.
Okay. Well, how about the fact that when you observed him in the hospital, did you have at any point have any concern or know anything about his blood alcohol level?
I never observed him in the hospital on the 15th, and I was never made aware of his blood alcohol content on the 15th.
I see, okay. So it was on Saturday, the 16th, at 8 o'clock in the morning, that you went to see him in the hospital, is that correct?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
We arrived at 10 a.m., but we actually didn't see or communicate with Mr. Tuerk until closer to 5:20 is when the interview began.
Okay, so your initial effort on May 16th would be that you reached out to Ms. Wilkies, is that right?
Yes, I reached out to Ms. Wilkies at 8 a.m. for a status on Mr. Tuerk.
Excellent. And Ms. Wilkies advised you that he had actually woken up around 1 o'clock in the morning, is that correct?
That's correct.
And he was asking for water, right?
That's correct.
So you guys go over to speak with him in the hospital that morning, right?
Yes,
You
we
went over
arrived.
to question him.
Yes, we arrived at about 10 a.m.
And I guess the questioning was in two parts where it was broken because he wanted to take a break and you guys were pretty good. No problem, let him take a break.
Yes, he requested a break.
Rona, we have the medical records from Norwood Hospital certified, I believe. I'd like to offer those if I could.
Can we just approach?
Sure.
There's no objection, I just want to approach.
When you were speaking with Harry, did you notice, I know the EMTs had been treating him, did you notice that he had all sorts of like linear cuts and scratches on his arms?
I didn't observe them myself.
No?
No.
Did you see any injuries on his arms or his legs or his torso at all?
I wasn't looking for the injuries when we were interviewing him.
Okay.
I didn't see them myself.
How about his wrist? Did you see any cuts to his wrist when you were talking with him at all?
No.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, you may step down. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Colby Roy, please.
Time to watch your step. Raise your right hand, face the clerk, please.
You solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending